Hi everybody, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. Tommy has literally just joined in, literally.
Just got her in time.
Yeah, I'm joined again by Adam Matthews, who was on last week. Hi Adam, how you going? Thanks for coming back. Tommy from TommyTalksBall. If you don't follow that YouTube channel, give it a follow. How you doing?
All good, mate. All good. Great to be on.
And a debut for Daniel from all the way from America in Florida. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks so much for coming on. Like I said, Tommy's been on a few times. You've got a YouTube channel. Tell everyone about it.
You've been on plenty of mine. You've been on plenty of mine, brother.
Yeah.
You've been on plenty of mine. So I'm happy to return the favour. So yeah, Tommy Talks Sport. I just done a stream. I've done a stream just now actually, and I've got to say, big up to everyone that was. I don't know. I tried to get a few people from there over to here. I think they call it a raid. They call it a raid in the streaming community. So if you was watching, I really appreciate it. I got the most views I ever have done. So yeah, big up to everyone and get subscribing. Whether you're watching live or on the recorded version, sign up to this channel because I think big things are coming. Big things are coming.
Excellent. And Daniel, you've got your own channel as well. So where can people find that if they don't already know?
You guys can find me at DanTHFC. I've actually changed the name quite recently because of the word Yid in my name, that it's got to be changed for monetization. But yeah, I do Monday podcast where I bring on guests, and I do these series where it's called FIFA Friday, so it's a Tottenham career mode, and I upload a new video to that every Friday, pretty much. And if you guys like what I have to say, please head over to my channel and subscribe. It's an honor it would be an honor to have you there.
Excellent. Yeah, all three channels, like, subscribe, watch as many videos as you can. We haven't been on for a week, so lots happened, but there's only really one way to start, and that's pretty much with this. So if anyone doesn't know about this, this is Harry Kane's statement. Obviously, I have quite a lot of audio listeners, so I'll just read a little bit out. Basically, he's saying it hurts to read some of the comments that have been made this week questioning his professionalism. Won't go into specifics, but he wants to clarify he'd never and never has refused to train. He'll be returning to the club tomorrow, which I think is Saturday, as planned. I wouldn't do anything to jeopardise the relationship I have with the fans who give me so much unwavering support during my time with the club. This has always been the case as it is today, Harry. A lot to digest there. I think it's quite strange that it came out almost a week after the whole news broke. But from my point of view, it's all done and dusted now. We didn't get that with Modric, Bale or Berbatov. We didn't get anything. So he said that. I'll let him off. Adam, thoughts?
I do think that he was frustrated at the apparent breakdown of his move or his dream move to Man City. I do think that he kind of threw his toys at the pram a little bit. But yeah, fair play for coming out with a statement. And if he performs next season and bangs in the goals as usual, then all is forgiven.
Tommy, would you agree with that, or what did you think of it being delayed 5 days? Because it sounds to me, I won't go into detail, it sounded like something personal issues, which I don't really understand why the club didn't come out and just say it's personal issues, nothing what is being reported, it will be dealt with internally and how we'll be back as planned. What were your thoughts on that?
That was strange. It took 5 missed training sessions to actually come out with a statement. But the coincidence there too was it seemed like the day before Guardiola sort of had made clear that he wasn't after him, and obviously the Grealish transfer went through, and then he comes out with a statement. Yeah, it's very, very odd. We can't look into too much into the newspaper rumours. There's a lot going about that he wasn't even supposed to be back at training. And to be honest with you, the thing that the thing that provokes my suspicion of the media doing their dirty work as usual, especially regarding Harry Kane, is the fact that he was never in line to play against Man City. So if he was never in line to play against Man City, then surely he wouldn't be training 2 weeks before. So it's all a bit smoke and mirrors. But it was odd that he come out with that statement literally a day after they signed Grealish, and it was coincidental that Guardiola seemed to not to sort of look elsewhere. But look, Man City still need a striker. They got Grealish. They still need a striker. They haven't replaced Aguero, so he's still got to be there. He's still on their cards, and they've got 3 weeks to the end of the window. So yeah, hold tight, Spurs fans. Hold tight.
Daniel, it's come out today that Nuno has said that every player in the squad is up for selection against Man City. He was then asked, does that mean Kane? And he reiterated every player in the squad. Do you think he'll play in that game? You said off air that if he does play, it's a chance to show City what they could be missing and reiterate, you need me. Do you think he'll play? Do you think he'll play that game anymore of the season? And come 1st of September when the window ends, do you think he'll be wearing white or light blue?
Well, look, the situation with Kane is very, very confusing because, why would we fine a player if he hasn't done anything wrong? So I do think that he has done something wrong. Whether he knows it or whether he doesn't is a different situation. Now, he says in that statement that he is coming back tomorrow as planned. So why are we fining someone if he's coming back tomorrow as planned? And as all of you guys said, it really is strange how long it took for this statement to come out. But honestly, if he's gonna play against City, I honestly believe he's gonna be off the bench. I don't think he'll be starting. Just came back from a Euros. He's absolutely exhausted. Especially with this type of player, Harry Kane. We know how if we would probably throw him in the starting lineup, he'll probably might pick up a knock, and then we'll have him injured for the next, 3 weeks. So look, with Harry Kane, obviously Manchester City, as you said, they need a striker. But I actually picture them going for someone more like Haaland or someone younger like that for the future, if Daniel Levy keeps being stubborn as he is. But if Daniel Levy loosens up and accepts an offer, I'm sure Manchester City will be delighted to have Harry Kane in their squad.
Mm. I mean, Adam, do you think it was a bit weird that that statement came out just after all the media kind of nonsense, and it was almost like we've got to do something to save face here? I think Levy saw his agent, his brother, coming, because I think if any player of that calibre gets some kind of clause in their contract, Grealish had it was a buyout clause for if a Champions League club came for him, which if Villa weren't in there. So I can't really believe that Kane just had a gentleman's agreement, which it's not written down in contract. So, and the law as well, it's not written down in contract, so it's not even worth a damn, really. But
Yeah.
Do you think it was just coincidental it came out literally after all that time when it was real questioning his professionalism, and it's just a case of let's cover our backs here a little bit? Or do you think it is genuine? I don't think he'd ever miss training. I think there's something gone on there, but I don't think he'd literally just, I'm staying at home. But yeah, what were your thoughts at the time in there?
Andrew made a good point. Why would you fine him? He hasn't done anything wrong. So he's obviously just not turned up for training. But with regards to Levy and the gentleman's agreement, you can't have a gentleman's agreement about something like that with Levy. There's so many factors involved with a transfer as big as this. I mean, what kind of agreement could Levy possibly give to Kane? I mean, the only agreement that he could give is if I get an offer that I feel is right, then we'll sell you. And that's the only agreement that he can give. And he obviously didn't receive an offer that he thought was right for Kane, for Man City. So all that gentleman's agreement, it's just nonsense, I think. Kane should have had something in his new contract, as Grealish had, a buyout clause or something like that, if he thought that in the future he would probably want to move on. And with regards to the statement, again, I just feel he grew frustrated at the Grealish move going through and Man City buying Grealish, and he saw his move crumbling, and he had to bring a statement out to try and reassure the Tottenham fans, as he's going to be a Tottenham player this season, and that was it. His representatives had to do something about it. So I think it was all a knock-on effect from Man City buying Grealish.
Yeah, I think there's a long way to go in this saga. I really do. But I mean, we're linked with strikers all over the ball, but one that has really been in the news today, which has pretty much been agreed, and I'm going to put ban on here, Tommy, because I know that you wanted this guy, and it's this guy. apparently 60 million has been agreed. He's told Inter he won't sign a contract and he wants to go. Do you think that's something that will happen, and that's been the case? Do you think it's a case that Kane has pretty much said he wants to go and Levy's pretty much accepted a bid in principle, we're getting him in? Or do you think there's a plan to play both of them? Or do you think this is just the Twitter machine rolling on again and we're after absolutely everybody? And what are your thoughts on that? I know you wanted him in, you said that last week, I think.
In terms of, I was banging on about him just like for a whole hour of stream just now. I'm in love with the guy. What I couldn't believe is we've got this sort of group chat. We're in this group chat, like quite a few Spurs streamers. I'm sure you'll be part of it soon, Chris, and some of the other, Spurs streamers. And basically it came to the light that he's only on 47 grand a week at Inter. He's only on 47k a week. So that alone will, I mean, okay, we're not in Champions League like Inter, they won the Scudetto, but money talks. So we will at least triple that. If we're going to spend 60 million pounds, we give Ndombele 200 grand. We'll at least triple that, probably get it close to that 200 grand figure. But in terms of the rumor, as you say, it's difficult to believe anything, isn't it? I mean, we went 72 days without a manager. It seems like every day a new manager popped up, or even two. We were linked to about 150 managers. Fonseca looked done. The deal looked done for 3 weeks. He's in a jet, it's 99% done. We're waiting for COVID and all this situation. 3 weeks we thought he was there, and nothing came to light, nothing came of it. So you got to be careful with the papers. But Lautaro Martinez, if the 60 million figure is true, it will be unbelievable. He is Luis Suarez Mark II for me. He is Luis Suarez Mark II. He's got that fight. He's got that South American fire. People are doubting whether he can play up top on his own, but that's only because he's only ever played with Lukaku. He's only ever done well in a two. That doesn't mean he can't play on his own. It just means that he's only got the 15, 20 goals a season and looked on fire with Lukaku. But he can. He's got the work rate. He's got the pace. His finishing. He's got everything. The problem is Lukaku. The big problem is Lukaku. He's undergoing the second part of his medical at Chelsea, £97 million. So £97 million is crazy money for a 28-year-old. Firstly, if he's going for £97 million, and how much is Harry Kane worth at the same age with his top assists and top Premier League scorer last season and what he's done over the last 5-6 years? You've got to be looking at 160, 170 minimum. But the problem is, obviously, Lukaku plays for it too. If he leaves Inter for £90 million, leaves them with no striker. Leaves Inter with no striker whatsoever. We know they're in debt, but that's a big problem. And we know is there's sort of like a transfer waterfall effect. Like, you lose a player, then they have to get a replacement from another club, and things just get going from there. So that is a big stumbling point. But I would love him. I would absolutely love him. The one striker that maybe can't replace Harry Kane, but would give me confidence and would spark a fire in me where I think, do you know what, we can still fight for top four, is Lautaro Martinez. He has something there. For sure. I really like the guy. I hope the rumors are true. Are true. Oh, actually, one more thing I just want to say is there are rumors with the Ndombele. Like, we're going to give him £30 million plus Ndombele or something, which is, I think we'd all agree with that. He's 2 years. He hasn't even appeared in pre-season training at all, has he? 5 games.
No, that's very strange as well, isn't it, really? He didn't play for the Euros in France, and I know he's had a baby, and, he's still fairly young, so... Oh, yeah, very strange.
He didn't have the baby, though, did he? As Roy Keane once said, he didn't have the baby, did he?
Oh, no, it's not Bobby Keane, no. Bobby Keane definitely didn't have the baby, but I don't know much about it.
It was Roy Keane that said it, wasn't it? It was Roy Keane that said it about an Irish player. I think it was like, I can't remember. Yeah, you can't miss 5 games in pre-season 6 weeks because your wife had a baby. So, there's something going on behind the scenes. There's definitely something on behind the scenes with Tanguy.
Yeah, that's a good point I didn't think. What do you think of that, Daniel Ndombele? Which I'm a massive fan of Ndombele. He reminds me of Dembele, and he's obviously young and still quite raw. Mourinho played him in about 5 different positions last year. If he can nail down a single position, I think we can see the best of him. But like Tommy's just said, didn't play in the Euros, hasn't played in pre-season. I've seen another, I get all of my information from Twitter on all these people in the know, so no idea, whether it's true or not. But would you keep him? Do you think there's a problem there? Do you think he's just unfit? Do you think the baby is changed his focus a little bit. What do you see going on there, and what do you think will be the immediate kind of resolution before the end of the transfer window with him?
I think something is happening behind the scenes with Tanguy and Ndombele, because Nuno Espirito Santos already said that it's not an injury problem, it's not a physical problem, and you don't take like 9 weeks to get under a baby, to get used to having a baby. It doesn't take that long. With Tanguy and Ndombele, at first with the Ryan Mason, what happened? Remember, everybody was saying free Ndombele, free Ndombele. We all thought it was something with Ryan Mason wanting to play his best mates, but then the Euros came and Moussa Sissoko got picked over him. Moussa Sissoko. So then it gets me to wonder, something is happening behind the scenes. Something is happening that we don't know. And now Nuno Espirito Santos is not playing him. Something is happening, and whether it's Nuno Espirito Santos trying to get him out so he can bring in one of his Wolves players, I honestly don't know. But something is happening that we don't know. And honestly, I think he's a fantastic player. What he can do is he's a wizard and his foot is a wand. But he has to get back in shape. He has to put down the burger and he has to pick up the weights.
Do you think he will, or do you think it's kind of him done and any offer that comes in will let him go?
Time will tell. Time will tell. I hope he does. But Ndombele, problem with him is, as well, there's a lot of reports that came out that he wanted to leave just because we were selling his best mates.
Yeah.
So if that's true, I say that mentality, I don't want him in the club. But the other day, it's really, really complicated when it comes to Ndombele. As well, you guys were just talking about Lautaro Martinez. If Kane leaves, not only do we have to buy a new striker, but we also have to buy a creator. Because Kane doesn't only take one position up, he takes two. Remember, he was the top assister in the Premier League and the top goal scorer. So we're going to need to find a creator and a goal scorer. So that's already two players. And Ndombele could be one of those. But if he leaves, then we're going to have to buy another one.
Well, Messi's available, isn't he? Apparently Paratici phoned him up. People saying what a pointless waste of time, but why wouldn't you? It's just a phone call, a 2-minute phone call at the end of the day. You know he's going to say no, but what if is always there. You might as well just phone him up and say...
I don't know if you heard the news that the reason that he did not sign the contract is because he was disappointed that Barcelona could not sign Christian Romero. So if he wants to play alongside Christian Romero so bad, why doesn't he come to Tottenham?
That's rubbish. About this whole thing about this Romero thing is just rubbish. This is Messi trying to look like he's not a mercenary and to keep his reputation intact by saying, Barcelona £850 million in debt. They announced that in February. They're not going to spend £50 million. They got Griezmann on 700 euros a week. 700 euros a week, 600k. So they're not bringing anyone else in. And Messi was aware of that. I know he played in the Copa America with Romero, obviously rates him very highly, but that was a spin just so his reputation is intact. He doesn't look like a mercenary. And do you know what? If Paris Saint-Germain are going to offer you £500,000 and Barcelona, the team you've been with all your life, are going to offer you half of that, fair play. Take the 500 grand. It's their fault. It's Barca's fault. You give 600 grand to Griezmann, you spend 160 million pounds on Coutinho. These are the ramifications. But for me, it was that story was all about Messi trying to keep his reputation in check.
But Tommy, just imagine next season Lionel Messi lining up to play against your mom FC in the Europa Conference League.
I know, right? It's tempting. It must be so tempting for him. Yeah, to play in the Belarusian leagues for like 600 capacity. 600 capacity. I mean, you go 12 leagues down in England, and we've got better capacity than some of the teams playing in the Conference League. So that must be appealing. That must have been why Romero signed. I think that's got something to do with money as well. Let's face it.
I mean, Adam, did you see his press conference, Messi, where he was crying? He loves Barcelona. He's a millionaire. Multi times over. He could have played for nothing at Barcelona if he cared that much. Do you think that was like Tommy said, my reputation, or do you think it was genuine that he's disappointed to leave and going to pastures new?
I think it's genuine. I do. I think it's genuine. I mean, he spent his whole career at Barcelona, didn't he? Yeah, again, it's a money thing, isn't it? You know, Barcelona, they're in a bit of trouble. Yeah, I do think it was genuine tears. I think. What about the applause he got? That went on for about.
I agree that it was. I agree that the tears were genuine, 100%. I agree.
Yeah,
All those years.
you must have a kind of affinity with him, similar to Jack Grealish at Villa. But yeah, it's just money's not something that Messi has to worry about ever, because the endorsements that he has, sponsorships and everything, the money he's got from Barcelona, he doesn't need any of that. But I think it's a bit of a cheat. You know, I'd like to see him come to the Premier League, whether it was Tottenham or not. I don't, Paratici's phone call. I don't know how long it took Messi to stop laughing. It must have been quite a while when he phoned him up. But I think to come to the Premier League, hardest league in the world, I think the French league, if they get in with Mbappe, Neymar, him up top, and the other players they've got, if they don't win that league, then Pochettino probably shouldn't be a manager ever again. But I think the real challenge would have been come to the Premier League. But obviously, we tried to phone him up, didn't get in. But one person we have got now, we've mentioned him, Romero. Does that mean our defence is now sorted, Tommy, or do you think we need a bit more? This can be to all three, actually. There's two people shaking their head. Tommy, we'll start with you.
Oh, it's a big question. It's a big question. The problem I have now, we've had 5 pre-season friendlies, and every single one we played 4 at the back. In all 5, we played 4 at the back. So it looks like we're going with that. When we signed Nuno, I was convinced we were playing 3 at the back. His Wolves system that he was so successful with. The only season he didn't play with 3 at the back at Wolves was the season he got effectively sacked, which was last year. So 3 at the back certainly works for him. It looks like we're going with a 4. So if it was a 3, we'd definitely need 2 centre-backs. We'd definitely need 2 centre-backs. But the fact that it's a 2, the amount of centre-backs we've got there, we can't get one in unless we sell one. We really can't get one in unless we sell one. We've got Dyer, Sanchez, Rodon. I know we tried to put Tanganga out on loan, but he looked fantastic at right back the other day. Yesterday, I think it was against Arsenal. So, but the thing is, playing 4 at the back now changes everything, because Reggie could have got away playing left wing back because his defensive deficiencies. Reggie's got, obviously, we saw last season, if he's playing left wing back and we've got 3 centre backs there, he can get away with it more. Same with Doherty at right wing back. We know he can't play right back, but he's a very good right wing back under Nuno at Wolves. So the fact that we're going to left, Reggie's just going to be left back, so his deficiencies are still going to be there. Doherty's going to go right back, so his deficiencies are still there. We need a right back now. We need a right back. So, yeah, the defensive line needs to improve. And for me, we can't go in there with Aurier and Doherty. And, Tanganga looked good the other day, but we need a right back for me. Left back, we're sort of a right. If we keep Davis and Reggie, it looks like we're going to stick with that. It will need some restructuring over the years. It's not just going to come together because of Romero, but I think we still need a right back. We really need a right back before the window closes, and I think we'll look a lot better. If we get that right back in.
Just going back to Messi slightly, Wayne's got in touch. Cheers, Wayne. Might be surprised if we get Messi. I'm not sure about that, but I like your positive attitude. And he's also said 3-5-2 is his formation that he likes, which goes to your conversation there, Tommy. Daniel, you were the first one to shake your head asking the Romero question. What do you think we need for our defence to be sorted? I doubt we'll get it this season in this window because we've already spent nearly 50 million on Romero, but that's a good step, I think, a good central defender. What else do you think we need, or do you think what Tommy said is hitting the nail on the head there?
I think Tommy's right to an extent, because I can't watch Eric Dyer for 90 minutes anymore. I cannot watch that man playing football for 90 minutes anymore. And at this point,
you might be forced to.
Yeah, because I think Nuno Espirito Santos is starting to do a Jose Mourinho on Eric Dyer. The first day Nuno Espirito Santos walked in, he came in, started speaking Portuguese to him, and then they fell in love. He gave him the captain armband for a few games, which is very worrying. But look, I think what we need, as Tommy said, we need to sell a few players. Davison Sanchez is getting a lot of interest from Sevilla. So if Sevilla put in a decent price, I would be happily letting him go. But something else that Laporte is having a situation in Manchester City. He wants to leave. if we end up selling Kane to Manchester City, I wouldn't be bothered if for a swap deal plus cash, obviously, we get Laporte. And obviously we need a right back because, I mean, the situation with the right back, I'm interested to see Doherty for one more season. I'll give him one more season just because Nuno Espirito Santos is back. And last time he got the best out of him. But I think we need one more right back and a center back. I think, and then our back line will be sorted.
Yeah. In terms of a centre back, Wayne said get Skriniar. I probably butchered that. Take advantage of Inter's situation. That's possible. I'm surprised we didn't get him last year. Again, it was another one of these Levy. They want this amount of money. Levy will offer £1 million less, and then it goes disappearing. But Adam, is centre back and right back what you think we need on top of Romero, or do you think we need more or less, and would Skriniar be the answer to the centre back question?
Yeah, we definitely need another centre back and a right back. Definitely, I think they're the problem areas. I don't think Sanchez is good enough. I think we need to get rid of him. We need to bring someone in who's a bit more solid. Sanchez he panics. He panics too much, and he lets strikers get on the inside of him. He's just not good enough. Dyer, he's probably the best out of them, except for Romero, obviously. But again, I agree with Daniel. I don't really want to see him play another 90 minutes. So yeah, centre back definitely, and we need another right back because right back is a weakness as well.
I mean, who would you have, Tommy, if he's going to play four at the back? You obviously got right back, left back, Romero in the middle, and then out of the bad bunch, who would be the one that you'd pick? Rodon for me, and then get him to learn from him, even though they're both quite young. But Romero is supposed to be a commanding centre back. Get Rodon to learn from him, and then hope you don't need the others. But who would you have if 4-4-2 is the way he's going to go this season?
I just want to say big up to Wayne Bonner. He's on everyone's channel, all the Spurs streamers, always helping people out, always a massive part of the streams, getting his chat in. So big up to Wayne Bonner. In terms of the question, inevitably he's going to be Eric Dyer. He's a golden boy. He's just a golden boy. As Dan said, you know, he had that connection with Jose Mourinho. I mean, Pochettino absolutely adored him. We had two. They were practically world-class centre-backs at the time, Vertonghen and Alderweireld. We know Dyer's natural position is centre-back. He still fit him in the team by putting him in defensive midfield, which I think was a big mistake. So obviously he loves all the managers love. He's had nearly 50 caps for England as well. Somehow, I don't know how, but he's nearly had 50 caps for England as well, mainly playing that defensive midfield role. Obviously, we didn't have Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips at the time, but still, it's sacrilege that he's got nearly 50 caps for England. I guarantee he'll be there. He'll be there playing next to Romero, come the Man City game. I don't want him there. I really, really dislike him. He was the first on the list when I wanted outgoings in terms of the deadwood. I wanted him out, but the reality is he's starting. And Dan mentioned the Sevilla, the whole Sevilla could be interested in Sanchez. A lot of that it's the waterfall effect, isn't it? They sell Koundé first. If they sell Koundé, then they'll be after Sanchez because I think their other centre backs fantastic. They've got Diego Carlos next to Koundé as well, so they won't need Sanchez if they've got Diego Carlos and Koundé. But it looks, for all the money, looks like he's going to Chelsea. So yeah, they could be in for Sanchez. That'd be good. Get £20 million for him. That'd be good business, I think.
And another one is as you said, the domino effect. If Sanchez goes to Sevilla, they'll sell Koundé to Chelsea, and then they'll have Zuma, which is one that we've been linked to highly in the past few days. That will be another domino to fall. But to be honest, I'd rather Laporte than Zuma, and we know that Abramovich doesn't do business with Daniel Levy.
No.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I think the number of clubs that do business with Daniel Levy is probably decreasing every year. But with Laporte, he wants to go. Bernardo Silva wants to go as well. But, you know, if they really want Kane, 100 million, give us those two. I mean, even if Man City agree to that, I'm not sure Bernardo Silva and Laporte would. But Laporte and Romero would be a fantastic partnership. And Bernardo Silva, for me, would be the creator that we're missing, like you mentioned, Daniel. If Kane stays, if Kane goes. But if Kane stays and we get hit, well, it wouldn't work, would it?
Yeah.
I just said do a swap
It's
deal, but
the
you have a striker up there. He can just concentrate on being a striker, and then you've got Bernardo Silva doing all the creative stuff in the middle. I don't understand why that hasn't even been mentioned. It might have been behind closed doors and not come to the media yet, but those two, I'd snap your hand off for those two. And if it meant Kane going, it improves our team no end. And then Tyler's asked this: would you take 160 million or 120 mil plus Laporte? I think I'd probably take the last one, to be honest, because you guaranteed money and you guaranteed a player that we need. Adam?
Yeah, I
what would
mean,
your choice be?
Laporte, I mean, he's got trouble with injuries, hasn't he, in the past? That would be my only worry about Laporte. But yeah, he's a great player, and he will shore up our back four. I'll take the 120 million plus Laporte, I think. Yeah.
Tommy, what would be your choice?
I'd take. Do you know what? I would take. I think we've got Roland and Tanganga there, and I don't think we necessarily need a centre back as much. While we play a 4, so I would take Bernardo Silva in 120. I'd take Bernardo Silva in 120, 100%, because he can play on the right as well. We're crying out for a right winger. He could definitely play on the right, coming inside. So yeah, we get replacement striker, maybe Martinez with Bernardo Silva on the right, and 120 million pounds at our disposal. Well, be about 60 if we sign Martinez. I think it'd be good business again. I think it'd be very good business.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. And then maybe with the 60 million pounds, get Max Aarons right back. Then I think we're good to go. I think we're pretty much good to go. We've got to be smart with the money. Whatever we do, if we do receive the money, we've got to be smart with the money, because we wasted Bale's fee. And we saw what Liverpool done with their 160 that they got through Coutinho. It's changed them into what they are now. They spent it wisely. It changed them. You know, they won the title, won the Champions League because of how they used that 160 mil. So if we do get the money and whatever plays part of the swap deal, we've got to make sure it suits us. We've got to make sure it suits us.
Yeah. What would you do, Daniel? 160 million or 120 million on Laporte, or 120 million on a different player, or just no go for either?
I would do in this question. I would do 120 plus Laporte. But what I would do is I would do 100 mil Laporte and Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. If you could get both of those, I think I'd try and do that as well.
Would you do 80 mil? Would you do 80 mil?
I think I would as well.
Yeah,
because
I don't think
because I don't trust Levy to use the 80 mil good anyways.
No. This is Man City as well. They can afford more than 80 million and let a couple of players go.
Of course they can. Of course they can.
I'd be saying at the very, very least 100 million, and then the two players, because those two players together are worth at least 60 million each. 30 million each. So you get your 160 then. But it's all about, like you said, Tommy. Apart from Eriksen, we wasted that Bale money. So it's all about, if you get rid of Kane, you've got a cash cow there, and then you've got a perfect opportunity to improve your team. If you get Bernardo Silva in and Laporte in and get rid of your star player, you've got rid of one star player and potentially two star players in and then 100 million to play around with to get that Martinez from Inter Milan. If they say, well, we've lost Lukaku, we can't afford to sell him, well, you need money, here's 100 million. Yeah, that's what I'd do. But did any of you watch the Arsenal game? I didn't watch it. I saw some highlights, but we've got some pre-season bragging rights. But you watched it. You watched it, Daniel, in full.
Yeah, I watched the whole game. Yeah. Unbeaten in pre-season.
Yeah. So what did you think of it overall? I saw an interview with Nuno at the end where the interviewer said that second half was outstanding. He went, well, not outstanding, but what did you think overall? Do you think we were worthy for it? Do you think it was just a pre-season game with both teams kind of letting back a little bit? Or, what were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, everybody knew this going into it, but it was not a friendly. It was an unfriendly. It was an unfriendly. And I don't know if you guys saw Højbjerg going up to Arteta.
That was hilarious, wasn't it? That was Arteta just...
Man. And the memes that came out of Twitter from that as well. Get back to your Amazon documentary, Convoy.
It was a little schoolyard bully, wasn't it? Thinking he's all that and then looking around, oh my God, my friends have run off.
And he was in his coaching, and he wasn't out in his coaching box anyways. So he deserved that. but it was the first half. It was a little bit more even. In the second half, we took control. A lot of wasted chances, especially from
Yeah.
Delhi, and I'd actually say Aubameyang. There was one where he just swinged and missed the ball, like completely just missed the ball. But we don't expect anything more from Aubameyang. I think it was a good performance, especially from Tanganga. Tanganga was a beast. It was sad to see him walk off with an injury at the end. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's only pre-season, so it's Wayne getting the bragging rights in really early there. Did Arsenal actually turn up? It is pre-season. You can't really put too much focus on pre-season. But what was good was the response that Saga got when he came on. The banner saying no to racism. It was a lot more detailed, that banner, no to racism, and then a round of applause. And I can't believe the Spurs fans who are on Twitter moaning about it, saying it's an Arsenal player, I'd never clap him. This is a 19-year-old who has suffered the heartbreak of missing a penalty in a final and then the ridiculous, disgusting racial abuse, playing in a charity game that was for mental health. And they're having a moan that people are clapping him. That I mean, that wouldn't happen in a 6-pointer North London derby game. But I mean, did you watch the game, Adam? I saw highlights, but
Well, one thing I think we've got to stop hitting the woodwork. We hit it about 4 times, and we stop hitting the woodwork.
I mean, what was good with that is that Delhi's getting into the positions to have shots that, so many times last season he was just a complete spectator. I mean, that one in the post in the first half was fairly terrible, but because he was completely free. The second one, he hasn't got a left foot, so that's why he had to try and hit it on the outside. But at least he's getting in position. And you mentioned him, Tommy, Tanganga, and Wayne has pretty much said exactly what I think about him. He's a monster. I wouldn't send him on loan. Love him. And that goal just showed what he's about. Pre-season, yes, but the determination to get that ball and keep that ball and then create something, and then the wherewithal to not drill it across the goal or blast it or do anything silly. A nice little touch to Son, goal. But I can't believe he's linked with going on loan. Absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, would you be selling him, loaning him, or?
And going to Turkey as well. Turkey is, if he was going out on loan, I'd want him to hit the Premier League or one of the, the major European leagues. I wouldn't want him to go out on loan anyway. I'll rate him very, very, very highly. And one of the reasons I wouldn't invest in another centre back because I think he or Rodon would be good enough. A right back, he's got his critics at right back in terms of explosive pace that the modern right back fullback needs to have. But he showed something yesterday, and defensively he's so supreme. He's so supreme. I remember when we played him at right back towards the end of last season. It's a third centre back in terms of set pieces because he's so good at getting his head to the ball. It's like you've got another centre back in the set pieces as well, which is key, especially when we've got Sanchez playing, because he's a nightmare. He is a nightmare in our own box. Like, you just can't get anywhere near the ball. Eric Dyer as well. His clearances are shocking. His heady clearances are just shocking. So to have Tanganga back in there, it's a good solution we have. It's a good solution we have at right back if we keep Tanganga. I think he rejected the contract. So Galatasaray he said, look, I'll fight for my place. I'll fight for my place. And hats off to him because the Premier League is a tough place. It's a tough place to beat. Galatasaray would have been a lot easier. But I love him. I think he could be anything. Honestly, I think Tanganga could be anything. I rate him that highly. I didn't watch the game in full. Yesterday. As you said, I just watched the highlights. But it seemed good. It seemed like a good performance. But we've got to put things into perspective. As Dan said, we're unbeaten. We're unbeaten in the pre-seasons. 1-1 against Leyton Orient first game. But Arsenal lost to Hibs. Arsenal lost to Chelsea. Arsenal lost to Hibs, Hibernian. So you got to put things into perspective of who exactly we beat. They're struggling. I'll tell you what, Arsenal's struggling to get into the top 10 this season. I'm not even joking.
Arsenal's struggling to stay up.
Relegation battle.
Well, Roy Keane questioned him last year, didn't he? With that, he reckons they had enough to stay up. But in terms of Tanganga, Daniel, we've got a player there who's first ever taste of Premier League football was against
Liverpool.
an out of his skin on form Mane, who is he's got to be one of the quickest players in the Premier League. They were firing at the time. I think that was the year they won the league finally, wasn't it? But that's his first ever taste of Premier League football. It's not an easy game at home against someone in the relegation zone where you're going to have most of the ball. He came through that. He was possibly our best player on the pitch. He made a few mistakes after that, which you expect because he's young. But he's a Spurs fan, or if he isn't a Spurs fan, he's come through the youth system. So he'll be someone there who knows what it is to be Tottenham and cares. Whereas Aurier reminds me a little bit of Asu Akoto. Asu Akoto famously said, I don't really care about football, I'm good at it and I'll get paid a lot of money. He feels like a bit of a mercenary, Aurier, whereas Tanganga, I think you could probably pay him enough to get by and he'd still put 100% in because he cares. And loaning him or letting him go for any amount of time or fee is just crazy. And that goal yesterday, I think, epitomised what he's about. So what do you think of him? And do you think he'll play this season if he does stay?
I think he deserves to play, and he's won his spot. I have the same thing to say about Joe Rodon. But when it comes to Tanganga, I think he's just a beast. I mean, the first game that we all ever saw him was Liverpool, and I didn't recognize who he was, but I recognized that he was our best defender. Tanganga, it's just he's got that spirit and that he's proud to play for the badge. There's some players that would just step on the badge. But Tanganga, I just adore him, and I hope he gets more minutes. But on the topic of other defenders, Eric Dyer actually, yesterday he didn't play bad, and I call him out when he plays crap. But yesterday he had a fantastic performance, and he made a lot of blocks as well. But it is a preseason game. That's not going to reveal how the season is going to be going for him. And at the end, he did have a decent free kick as well to hit the bar. But he has one of those games once in a blue moon. Not really much to take out of that. But Tanganga, I hope we keep him, and I hope he gets playing time. But I doubt he'll get playing time over Doherty.
No. What do you think his best position is, Adam? Like I think sometimes versatility, certainly in players that are young, can be a hindrance because you never ever learn a position down. You look at Harry Kane; he's only ever played striker, whereas Tanganga's played left back, right back, centre back. I think he needs a position, and then he just plays there. But where do you think that is, or do you think he is because he's versatile? He's always going to be a kind of number two, if you like, and a utility player. And get a run in the team if someone in that position gets injured for long term.
Yeah, it's difficult to say because he hasn't really been featured that much. It's difficult to say what his best position is. I mean, obviously he's been playing at right back, but it's difficult to say at the moment. I hope he gets more of an opportunity this season. Is more of Nuno's plans. I mean, only time will tell. I think with Tanganga as to what position he will actually fit into and develop in. Really,
yeah,
great potential, and I think we've got a few players. We've got Oliver Skip as well. He's got great potential, and I hope he features a little bit more this season. Obviously, he's been featuring. Yeah, definitely. He's been featuring in the pre-season games, and he's done very well. So
do you think he'll feature in the league, or do you think he'll be a kind of on the bench kind of player, or do you think he'll? His obvious position is next to Højbjerg, so do you think he'll feature there a lot, or do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's only 20 years old, but I think he's got a lot of potential, and obviously he had a great season in Norwich last season. You know, he was in the Championship, but still, he had a great season. The Championship is not an easy league, and I think he's got great potential, and I think he should be part of Nuno's plans for this season, without doubt.
Yeah, I mentioned Højbjerg there, and we've mentioned the Arteta versus Højbjerg. I'm not really sure what Arteta was moaning about, but Højbjerg, you can't help but like him, can you, Tommy? He's just got that fire and desire and everything, and we need more players of that, which I'm a little bit sad that Lamela went, because I think he had that fire. Obviously, he was injured and then he was very inconsistent. But Højbjerg he's definitely captain material, isn't he?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, Lloris can't be far away from hanging his gloves up. I think it'll be this season at the most. I think he may even go in January. I mean, if Golini takes the number 1 spot, potentially he may even go in January. So I think Lloris has got a season tops. So with that in mind, and Harry Kane potentially going too, Højbjerg's he's got to be the next captain as far as I'm concerned. He's only been there for a season, but as bad as last season was, he was the positive. He was the positive to come out of it. Højbjerg and Højbjerg. I mean, and I was going to say Conference League, but no. Højbjerg's the plus that came out of last season, and Kane obviously being able to adapt into a different system and get all those assists. They were the two positives for sure. Regarding Skip, I will be disappointed if Skip hasn't got that centre midfield role nailed on at the end of the season. By the end of the season, if he hasn't got that nailed on to Højbjerg, I'll be shocked, considering the centre mids we've got currently. I mean, we've still got Sissoko sitting there, we've got Winks sitting there, and Dobele, But I think going into the Man City game, I've got a funny feeling it'll probably be Højbjerg and Lo Celso, and then maybe Ali in front. I mean, Ali started all 5 games, hasn't he? So it'd be difficult to see him not playing against City. So the two players that, Spurs fans are very hit and miss about, I'd say 90% miss, are Dyer and Dele Alli, and it looks like they're both starting. And if that's the case, there is a spot for Skip. There is a spot for Skip for sure. And Højbjerg, I think he played like 65 games for us last season.
And the latter stages of the Euros as well, just 1 game short of the whole tournament. But
and then Ndombele's not playing. And then for some reason Ndombele's not playing. It's crazy.
And the emotional fatigue for Højbjerg as well, with what happened to Eriksen as well. I mean,
of course,
and he turned up to training earlier than he should have done apparently. But Tyler said Skip is a top central defensive midfielder. What a player! Do you think it's a bit too early for him, Daniel, or do you think, like Tanganga, it'll be into the furnace against Man City? And if you're going to be that kind of player, you can't really pick much better players to learn from than Højbjerg, really, in our current crop anyway. But do you think it's a bit too early, or do you think he will start against City and then see what he's got in the first game? Skip.
Skip is just the top. I don't know if you guys saw the match versus MK Dons, where he just did that ball from one side of the pitch to the other. What? No, I don't think it was MK Dons now. It was a team that we played in preseason. Whereas he's just fantastic. The quality that this guy has at the age that he's at right now, he's already better than Moussa Sissoko. And Moussa Sissoko has featured in a Champions League final and a Euro. It's just a joke how we have these players in the squad that are underperforming, and then these players that are young and their potential is way higher than the ones that are already in the squad, and they're not getting a start over them. So I really, really want Skip to start. But knowing how the starting lineups usually get chosen in this type of game, especially in this type of game against Manchester City, where you're going to need players with a lot of experience, I don't think he will, but I really hope he does.
Yeah, and in terms of Golini, Tommy mentioned him. I read that Saga had a shot from long range and Golini saved it. And
anyone?
How did he play? He made a couple of mistakes against Chelsea, or 1 mistake against Chelsea. I didn't see that game. Do you think he's a number 2 this season, or do you think it'll be a kind of half and half with him and Lloris, being that Lloris is about to hang his gloves up, and Nuno sees him as the successor, or do you think it's more just to replace Gazaniga, and then next summer we'll get someone to replace Lloris? Or do you think he's done enough in these pre-seasons to earn, let's see what he can do in the league?
I love that man. That man, he's coming. I don't know if you saw the photo, but he came in. It's like if he's been at the club for years, and his second match at the club, and he's screaming up with the fans. He's been with Sonny quite a lot, which is something I have to say about Sonny. Is Sonny has been with all the new players. He's been helping them adapt to the club. That's something I have to say. Big up Sonny for that. But,
he wants to get Lloris out, though, doesn't he? Someone wants to get Lloris out, doesn't he? They're not the best of friends, are
they? He's forgiven him for that Everton game, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I actually think he's going to be I think he's definitely going to play the 20 games that he needed to sign the contract. there's definitely going to be more than 20 games in the Conference League. So that's already 20 games right there. And if we play a lower team in the Carling Cup or in the FA Cup, he's definitely going to start as well. I don't know why I said Carling Cup. Just got flashbacks from the years before. But yeah, I love how he plays. I love the aggression that he has. He played at Manchester United before when he had the opportunity to become a Premier League star. He lost that opportunity, and now he's getting that opportunity again. I think he will not mess it up.
Yeah. Tyler said he'll be too much for Loris.
Glorious.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you.
No Goyini.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I think this. I'm a little bit older than Dan. I'm a little bit older than you, Daniel. I know you're only 13, which is mind-boggling. But I'm a fair bit older than you, and so I'm not too used to this social media craze. I'm not used to this social media craze. So this whole thing with the little videos and the photos, they don't do it for me. They don't do it for me. I'm all about what you're showing on the pitch, and I don't even want goalkeepers celebrating. To be honest with you, it's like defenders. If I don't see them, then I'm happy. If we keep a clean sheet and I don't see them, then that's the job done. It's the same with a goalkeeper. I don't really want to see them. I don't care what they do as long as they keep a clean sheet. So I'm not into all this excitement and cheering and all this social media rubbish. I'm not into that. And Golini fouled at Aston Villa as well. He fouled big time at Aston Villa. So they sent him packing as well. So I'm not going to go crazy about Golini. And Atlanta effectively sold him. He was backup at Atlanta because they signed a new keeper from Argentina for £18 million. So effectively he was going to be backup at Atlanta or be backup to us. So I'm not really convinced by him. He's going to have a chance, and I hope he takes it, because Lloris, the first half of last season was pretty poor, and he's definitely coming to the end of his career. But if I'm supposed to be, if I'm in love with a man like you, I'm not in love with a man like I am Martinez. That's for sure. I'm not in love with a man like I am Martinez. That's just my personal point of view.
I mean, Adam Wayne has said here, when Lloris goes, stick Golini number 1, Alfie Whiteman as backup. What I don't want, though, is for Golini to only play Carabao Cup games, FA Cup games, conference games, no Premier League games. And then,
if Lloris gets injured, then he'll play for sure. Yeah.
I mean, but if he doesn't get injured, I think the last thing I want is a player who's not really had any Premier League experience replacing Lloris full-time. Because despite how Lloris has done in the last few seasons, he's been a superb goalkeeper for us. So what I'd like to see is Golini get a number of Premier League games to get him used to that Premier League, so that if he is the successor to Lloris, he's got that experience rather than coming in cold into the Premier League. So what do you think of him? Do you think he is going to be the long-term number 1, or do you think it's a number 2 and then we'll buy someone else? And do you think if he is the number 1 successor that he'll get some game time in the Premier League, even if Lloris doesn't get injured?
I think Lloris should be number 1, and I hope he's not number 1. He plays all the Premier League games, because I think you've got to have that constant goalkeeper. You can't keep chopping and changing it, because it's not good. The goalkeeper and certainly the centre backs, they need to form an understanding every game, and it's that understanding that creates that solidarity and that confidence in our defending. So I think we need to stick with Lloris as number 1 this season for all the Premier League games. And if he gets injured or whatever, then the other goalkeeper can come in. But yeah, he's going to be a number 2. So I think this season and see what happens next season with Lloris.
Yeah, Tyler said we're comparing Golini with an ageing Lloris, but I think you need to think about these things. I think you can't just have an inexperienced goalkeeper and come in to replace someone like that. I mean, you wouldn't have like Dane Scarlett come in to replace Harry Kane straight off. I know it's a completely different scenario, but it's someone with no experience really replacing someone who's been there and done it all. And yeah, I mean, we've got City at the weekend. I know Adam's going, I'm going. I finally got that ticket after complaining to them that I hadn't got it. But the Community Shield, they obviously lost that game. Do you think that's going to be an issue for us? Do you think they're going to be angry now and they're going to want to put it right straight away? Or do you think, again, like I've been saying for quite a long time, Tommy, it's the best time to play Man City because they're not into their rhythm yet. And Sunday, or whenever the Community Shield was, possibly proves that they're not into their rhythm. So do you think it will make a difference, or do you think it doesn't really matter? We're still playing Man City regardless of what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, it is. I would say it's a good time to play them. I mean, Community Shield is a pre-season friendly. Basically, it's a pre-season friendly. I think that's how the big teams perceive it. I think that's how the fans perceive it. But so they won't be hurting. Yeah, they won't be hurting from losing the Community Shield. But the Pep Guardiola team, they seem like they're hurting on the pitch all the time. It's like it's like a family, and it's like them against the world. So they don't want to give anything away. Every game, they do not want to give anything away, and they're going to want to light it up. Grealish is going to want to light it up because Grealish, he didn't start all the games for England. He's on 370 grand a week, so he's got a lot to prove. And I've got a funny feeling he'll start. I've got a funny feeling Grealish will start.
He has to with De Bruyne and Foden now.
Yeah, absolutely. But De Bruyne not being there is a big bonus. Is a big bonus, to be honest with you. It'll probably be Gundogan and Rodri or something like that. So it's a good time to play him in terms of injuries for sure. And well, unless they nick our one, it doesn't look like they got a striker. But Gabriel Jesus isn't good enough.
Yeah.
They're going to sign another striker. It's just how much they're willing to pay. I sort of hope it's not our one. So I don't think we're going to lose that game. I've got a funny feeling I don't think we're going to lose that game. I'm not going to say we're going to win. I've just got a funny feeling we're not going to lose.
I'll be there with my lucky hat, so hopefully.
So you're both going there. You're both season ticket holders.
I am your member, aren't you, Adam?
Okay.
Are you going, Tommy?
I'm not. No, man. I'm not. I've never been a season ticket holder. I try to go to 4 or 5 games a season, but I'm jealous. I'm jealous to a certain extent. I'll confirm my jealousy after 3 games. If we lose the first 3 games, then yeah.
Do you think the fans will make a difference? This is the first time in 18 months that full capacity, ignoring this friendly against Arsenal, which I'm not sure if it was full capacity, it was a lot of capacity. But do you think that the fans I would expect will be on fire from the start and may spur them on? We don't have the Mourinho sit back for the entire game. You've got to sit back potentially to an extent against Man City because they're going to have more of the ball. But do you think that the fans will make a difference? And not just for us, but over the course of the season for home teams and for away teams as well, because the job of the away team is to shut the home fans up early doors.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's going to make a huge difference, especially in terms of the. It may not be all positive either. The the Spurs protests and stuff. We didn't really get a chance to do it inside. It was outside. Like, for the ESL and stuff. So I think that's coming when it comes into play. I'm not sure, but I mean, in terms of just cheering and being the 12th man, I think it's certainly going to make a difference. But it's a good thing it was a good job you mentioned the other teams. I think with certain teams, it's going to make it a much larger effect, like a Leeds. Like I've been to Ellen Road before, and they sell their ticket. It doesn't matter what league they're in. They sell their tickets every game. That is a pit you don't want to go. You don't want to be playing away to Leeds. So now they got the fans back. That's going to be a different. That's going to be an entirely different proposition this season. We know how good Leeds are anyway from their first season in the Prem. So certain teams are going to use that to their effect. Villa as well. A lot of the northern teams, they've got real strong fan base. They really sing with their hearts. Slightly different for Spurs. If you're playing at White Hart Lane, you can hear it reverberates. The cheering, it reverberates. Don't get me wrong, it's a stunning stadium, a beautiful stadium. But I think it will work for teams, for other teams, maybe more than ourselves. But it would be so amazing to just see it. Even like an 80% stadium full would be amazing. I can't wait. I just can't wait. I can't believe it's here. After 18 months, we're going to see pretty much all the stadiums.
You mentioned the sound there. My last game was the Man City game where it was Bergwijn's debut where he scored. And because of the goals and the penalty save and all that kind of drama, it was comparable to White Hart Lane in sound. I was in that one tier, like the Cop stand, the South stand, and how long have we been at that stadium before that? Maybe a year. It was never ever that loud, that stadium, and that was comparable to White Hart Lane.
Well, that's great then. If that's as I say, I'm not a season ticket holder, but if you're saying that already, that's magnificent. Yeah. That will certainly work in our favour because you need the 12th man. I mean, the home. If you saw the home and away statistics for the last year and a half, they've been very, very different. They've just been very, very different, as you'd imagine. So that comes back into play. A home game really is a home game now.
Yeah. And then back to the Community Shield, Tyler's asked, do you think City will care about the loss of that? I think, of course they will. They're winners and champions. They want to win every game. It doesn't matter if it's a friendly or not. But Daniel, do you think, I said it's a good time to play City. Foden, De Bruyne, who are mainstays in that City team, I know what it's about, are injured, means Grealish will have to play, and someone else who isn't favoured, I guess. Do you think that will help? Because Grealish hasn't integrated fully into the Man City team yet, so he's still learning. They're still learning how he plays. Do you think that will help us at all, or do you think it's still Jack Grealish, £100 million player, he's a fantastic player, he could play in any team? Or do you
yeah, go on.
Yeah, or do you think will work in our favour because they're still getting to know their teammates and how they're going to play with the new players? Whereas if De Bruyne and Foden were playing, who played the majority of last season, they just slot in, and then it's basically we play how we know Man City play.
So I honestly think that this game could be a massive decider for the Harry Kane situation as well. What does it say to Harry Kane if we beat Manchester City? What does it say? And another thing is that quite a few people know this about me. My father actually supports Manchester City. So type of game, that game in our household is like a North London derby. As you said, the last one in the Premier League where Steven Bergwijn scored his goal, I was actually at that one as well. So
did you think it was as loud as I thought, or did you think it was?
I thought loud. It was pretty loud. But I thought the Champions League one that we played against Manchester City was louder. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one. But
yeah, I was at that one as well. And then we went to the second leg of Manchester where VAR saved us. But it's just when it comes to Kevin De Bruyne, obviously he's going to make a massive difference if he's not in the squad. But Manchester City's Manchester City, and with all their best players or not, I think they're in a better stance than we are. I honestly, this comment is very interesting from Tyler 442, saying the Champions League loss and Poch sacked. Do you think that City will lose? So the Champions League basically was trying to say there is definitely something that I agree with. If you saw the documentary on Amazon, when we lost that Champions League final, the players their heads went down. They were wondering, so that's it. Now we have to try that all over again. So it could be that same situation with Manchester City. But to be honest, I just hope we get something out of that game. 1 point or 3 points or something, because I don't want to lose to Manchester City, and especially in the situation that I have in my household.
What do you think, Adam? Obviously, we're going. I can't predict exactly what will happen because that's tempting fate for me, and I can't do that. So I'll basically put the blame on everyone else and get myself off scot-free. But how do you see the game going?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very tough game. I think Man City will dominate possession. They'll press. They'll push us back. I mean, if Man City, I think the problem with Man City is they don't have a striker who can put the ball away, like Aguero could. So that might be their downfall. They'll make a lot of chances. They'll have a lot of play around our box in our half. They have a lot of possession, so it's going to be very tough for Spurs. Very tough. Obviously, we've got Son, and he's great on the break. If we can, we can break on Man City because their defence obviously isn't the best when put under pressure. Obviously, it's rarely put under pressure, but if we can get maybe an early goal, soak up their pressure, hope they don't take their chances, then we could get something from the game. Yeah, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy, we've mentioned on your channel, not just me, but other people who have been on there as well, Lucas Moura. And you'll be good to answer this as well, Daniel, because you saw the whole of the Arsenal game. From what I saw and in pre-season, it looks to me like he's been given a bit of a free role. And if Man City are going to attack us, then that presumably will leave gaps. And the Arsenal game, it was Son who had a chance, wasn't it? Close range, and the keeper saved it. But it all came from Lucas Moura. literally making something out of nothing. So do you think this could be a game where Lucas Moura again comes to the fore? And do you think he could have a big say this season and get back to the kind of Lucas Moura that we saw in Amsterdam, but much more consistently this season?
So I'm a really big fan.
Oh right, sorry. I thought he was coming to me. Go on.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mentioned both of you. That was my fault.
I have to get off for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. To you, Tommy. That's what I meant.
Right. I'll go. So basically, Lucas is a very tricky one. He's very tricky. But the thing is with him is we don't know what his best position is. We don't even know how to, as Spurs fans, are very 50-50 on him. But that makes it very difficult for the opposition. Because if we don't know his strengths, and if he doesn't know his strengths, then the opposition certainly don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to have a plan with Lucas. And we saw one positive I can give to Jose was putting him in number 10, putting him in the number 10 spot. Obviously, it wasn't going well for us at number 10 last season with injuries, and Ndombele couldn't fit there. He didn't work. So we played him at number 10, and it worked. He could play centrally, and he played on the left against Arsenal. We saw him play on the left quite a lot last season when Son was injured. He went on the left-hand side, and he was magnificent on the left. I couldn't believe how good Lucas was on the left, because obviously we know his strengths are on the right. He hits the line, tries to get that ball in. There's nothing in between. That's how he's always been playing. Slightly changed now. On the left, he was doing the same thing. And you think, well, he's right-footed, but he was still doing it, bolting down the line, quickly getting into his right and crossing in, like he was doing against Arsenal. He's a big player. He's going to have a part to play this season. He really is, Lucas. He's going to have a part to play. I don't want him to be an out-and-out right winger. I'd rather sign a right winger and then have, Lucas floating about maybe on the right some games, number 10, on the left. Another reason I wasn't happy with the Hill signing, I just don't think we needed Hill. Not with Sessegnon, not with Bergwijn, not with Lucas being able to play on the left. But there you are. I think it's a big season for Lucas. I really do think it's a big season. I think he will have his strongest season. And we forget how good he is in the air. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got he hangs, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's so good for a relatively small guy. He's very good.
Yeah, he scored one in pre-season as well. Header.
Yeah, and he's actually kind of short as well. So it's just the attitude. You see Eric Dyer, he's a giant, and he can't get to a ball that he doesn't even have to jump to. A ball could be right there, he doesn't even have to jump. He just stands and headers it, and he still can't header it. But you have Lucas Moura, the ball's all the way up there, and he could jump like Michael Jordan to header the ball.
Yeah. I mean, what I've been impressed with, I've only seen the highlights of these pre-season games, but the interplay and almost communication between Moura, Son, and Ali has been very good. So it looks like we've got a kind of partnership there. Obviously, Kane hasn't been anywhere near that, and if Kane's fit and he's going to stay, then Kane's going to be integrated into that. But yeah, what do you think, Dan? You watched the entire Arsenal game where they played most of it, I think. Was the interplay there and the communication there and the understanding there, or was it kind of fleeting moments and I've only seen the good bits on the highlights?
The game was quite interactive with both sides. However, it should have been a lot more goals. A lot of players missed big chances, including Dele. That first half, I would have to say, was a little bit more balanced. Both sides were attacking, but in the second half, there was a lot more, and we took a lot more control. But you're right there when you say that the highlights don't really show the full game and in all its shapes and sizes. But it looked like a North London derby at one point. It could be a friendly, but there was a lot of fighting going on. Remember that Dele Alli tackle was just atrocious. But I don't think he meant to go for the ball. I think he meant to go for the ankles, if you know what I mean. But and then there's a lot of moments in the match where it was really entertaining. I actually think it was a quite entertaining game, but it wasn't as entertaining as the highlights showed.
Right. Okay.
It was pretty much Arsenal's first team, though, wasn't it? I think that was Arsenal's first team.
Yeah,
that's what they had.
We were playing with our second team, and I don't know if you saw AFTV. They were crying, and I actually put a super chat in there. I put a super chat in their stream. North London is Ben White. Go cry in your corner. And then they all started getting mad. Typical AFTV, but and the fact that it's a North London derby, I can't wait. The fact that it's a friendly, I can't wait to beat them in the Premier League.
No, I mean, yeah. I hope we do. I definitely can. Hopefully, Tommy's prediction is right that they won't make top 10. Hopefully, Daniel's even more that they
I'm
will
putting
go
money
down.
on it. I'm putting money on it. Put your money where your mouth is. They're not making top 10, man.
Yeah. Last question to you all, which is this: Spurs' final position. So, I still think there's a chance of getting top 4. It's going to be very, very tough, and the likelihood is that we won't get top 4. Adam, prediction for the season?
I don't think we'll get top 4. We've got Man City, Man United, we've got Chelsea, we've got Liverpool, all very strong teams. Chelsea only getting stronger, Man United only getting stronger. I don't think we'll make top 4. Hopefully, we'll get into the top 6. But you've got, Everton. They've got Rafa Benitez now. Great manager. They're only going to get better.
They got battered by United yesterday, though, didn't they?
Did you hear the James Rodriguez comments?
Isn't it? I'm hoping. I mean, I'm hoping top 6 for Spurs, but we'll see. I definitely don't. I don't think we'll get top 4.
What was that, Daniel, about James Rodriguez?
Yeah, so they asked him, obviously, the Sergio Aguero and Messi situation. Messi left, and Sergio Aguero went to play with his best mate, and he left. And they asked James Rodriguez how he felt about that for some reason, and he answered, "I know how it feels. I came to Everton to play with Ancelotti, and now look, he's gone."
Yeah.
What does that say to Rafa Benitez? Like, I don't want to play with you. I only came to play with. But it's an interesting situation.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Daniel? Top 4, top 6, somewhere in between, somewhere else? Champions? Messi comes, we've got a chance of being champions.
My inside Spurs fan tells me we're going to win the Premier League. But my 13 years of dealing with Daniel Levy tells me I think the best we'll do is 5th. There's too many teams in the top 4 that they're just. I mean, Manchester United, Liverpool, Manchester City, and still you have a lot of those teams, and then still you have Leicester City. Don't write them off.
Yeah.
They've just come back from winning the Community Shield and the FA Cup in one season. They're going to be wanting Champions League football. They've been wanting Champions League football for such a long time, and then they keep bottling it. So this season they're going to come in hungry for it, and they're actually getting a few signings as well. Vardy's going to stay. If Maddison stays or not, that's another question. But look, I think the best we can do is 5th. Obviously, if we get to top 4, I want us to win the league. But in my personal opinion, I think the best we can do is 5th.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy, are you going to join me in the positivity, or are you going to go with the other two and be realistic?
You're muted, Tommy.
Yeah, I think you're mute there.
Dog was barking a little bit. No, so in terms of finishes, I have to say I would say I'm more on your side, Chris, because I tell you what, the top 3 teams in the Premier League, I believe they've got stronger. The top 3 teams in the Premier League from last season, Man United, Chelsea, and Man City, I feel like they've got stronger. But the problem, and I see there's a route to get into the top 4, and that's Liverpool. Because, okay, they've got Van Dijk back. They bought another centre-back from Leipzig, Konate. But in terms of that, they've had no business. They've lost Wijnaldum to PSG. They haven't signed a centre midfielder. They've got, I don't know, Thiago there, Oxlade-Chamberlain to come in next to Fabinho. Henderson's legs have gone. Everyone's been linked with Henderson.
Curtis Jones, that could be his season to really come to the fore, maybe.
It could be, yeah. I was talking to Liverpool fans before. They rate him highly, but good enough to be starting in the centre midfield and good enough to replace Wijnaldum, because Wijnaldum was a seriously underrated player. He can do everything, box to box. Absolutely fantastic. Quite an unselfish player for Liverpool, where he had a different role for the Netherlands, more attacking. Unselfish for Liverpool. They're going to miss him massively. So I think we can actually compete with Liverpool. Mane's on the downward spiral. Okay, they got Jota there. Firmino, they only got one striker. So I think we can catch Liverpool. Potentially. I still think 5th will probably be the most likely Europa League spot. But I'd be disappointed. Go on, Dan.
Yeah, because you said about Leeds that the fans are coming back. That's going to make a big impact. If any fan is going to come back and make a big impact, it's Liverpool fans.
Of course, yeah. Anfield. Yeah, Anfield's mad, and they really did struggle. last season, didn't they? But that could have been down to Van Dijk and Gomez, although they did lose 7-2 to Villa with Van Dijk in the team. But it was just, it was a bad year defending the trophy. But I think Liverpool will come back. They'll get more points than they did last season. But I think we potentially could too with another signing or two. So, but yeah, I think Everton have got weaker. Adam, you mentioned Everton. I think Benitez is a weaker manager than Ancelotti these days. I think they've signed like Andros Townsend, and I'm thinking, and they're going to lose James Rodriguez. I don't think they've improved a great deal, but it looks like they might get Max Aarons at right back. They need that because Seamus Coleman's legs have gone. John Joe Kenny's going Celtic. I think they had high hopes for him once upon a time. Max Aarons is that good. I think if they can get a couple more in, which they probably will, they will still be in the hunt. West Ham are going to be dangerous. West Ham are going to be very dangerous. They kept.
I'm not sure about that though. I think they've not had European football for so long. They'll be playing on Thursdays and Sundays, and they tailed. They were in that top 4 race, weren't they? Last year they got a few injuries and they kind of tailed down. Whereas the likelihood is they're going to get injuries this season, or if not, they're going to be getting a lot more fatigue. So I think mid-table for them. Villa, I think, could prove a real surprise. They've obviously lost Grealish, but they brought 3 players in. They brought Bailey, Buendia, and Ings. And Ings
they got mugged off
at any level.
I think they got mugged off for Ings though. £31 million with a 29-year-old, 1 year left on his contract. I think Southampton to be laughing all the way to the bank.
Free money though, isn't it? With 100 million they got.
Well, you say that, but if you could get a Vlahovic or someone like that in, but and it put another 20 million on top. I mean, Villa were never going to go into this season with no budget, were they? So they've got the Grealish money plus, I don't know, 40-50 million pounds. So they've got a player in them left, maybe. But West Ham, they kept Declan Rice. Rice. Souček and Kufau are fantastic. I think Ben Rama could have a real amazing season. Ben Rama for Brentford was sensational for 2 years. If he brings that form back, it was okay last season. And they have got depth. They've got some depth. They've got Jared Bowen on the wing as well. They've got some depth in there. Who's that?
Lanzini.
Okay, yeah. Oh, mate.
You can't say his name on here, Daniel. Sorry.
Oh, don't remind. That game in particular, I fell asleep at 3-0. I admit, 78th minute, I thought it was over, so I fell asleep. So I got up and Lanzini banged it. And Zini banged it, and it's 3. I was like, oh my days, what is happening here?
We've got 2 who think top 4 is possibility, 2 who think probably not, but remains to be seen. I'll be doing a preview show probably when the transfer window closes. You get a little bit more of an idea of how teams will do. But for today, I think we've run out of time, really. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on. Daniel, first time. Adam, Tommy, welcome back. Thanks for coming back on. Before we go, Tommy, sorry?
I was just going to say, I didn't realise it was you first, Dan, because you changed your name and you're not wearing glasses. I didn't actually realise it was you. I've never seen you with glasses.
My glasses are coming back, I think, in a week's time. It's because somebody stepped on them and they broke. And right now I'm wearing contacts. It's a little bit weird to get used to. But glasses or contacts, all I see is one Eric Dyer in Tottenham Hotspur.
You're just on the depressed side, aren't you? You can't get in. You're just on the depressed side. But look, we'll get a couple in. We'll get a couple in. But I'm sorry, Daniel, but we are starting Dyer. Man City, Dyer will be starting. So you better get used to it. You better get used to it for the foreseeable future. We can still do things.
Manchester City has not scored 1 goal in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 1 goal.
Oh, really?
You can't say things like that. They've got 6 on Sunday now. Just because. Oh dear!
I tell that to my father every day. You haven't scored a goal in our stadium. You
can't tempt fate. I'll still let you plug your channel, but you can't tempt fate like that. I mean, Tommy, you've already mentioned your channel, but for anyone who didn't hear that or has forgotten, what's your channel? Where can people find you?
So yes, just as the name states, YouTube channel TommyTalksBall. I've got a Twitter up with the same handle. So if you get a minute, head over there, give me a sub if you haven't already, and check out some of my old vids. And same with Chris. Make sure you smash that sub, get liking on the stream, and not just these vids, but the vids Chris has done in the past. He's done quite a few vids in the past, just hitting it off live, and it's a pleasure to be part of it today. But watch the recorded vids, get liking on them, get commenting because it helps the channels grow. So and it's a pleasure to be on your channel for the first time. Well, first time live, and I'm sure there's a lot more coming. I mean, with the season starting, everyone's releasing more content now. I'm sure you're the same, Dan. So yeah, good times ahead. Good times ahead.
Yeah, we'll be doing a Friday one as well. I've got Eugene coming on from Spurs.
He's brilliant. I love
channel
Eugene. He's brilliant.
He's Asian Spurs. Yeah, he's on Friday. But yeah, Daniel, you got a channel as well. Obviously, I expect an apology on there if Man City do score 6 because of that comment. But what's your channel? Where can people find you if they didn't hear it before?
Yeah, you guys can find me at DanTHFC. As Tommy said, I did change my name, but still same love for Tottenham no matter the name. Right now on my old channel, on my old channel, I actually am really close to hitting 300 subscribers. So if we can hit that before we close down that channel, it'll be fantastic. Before the Manchester City game, I'm actually doing a preview with my dad. I'm playing a FIFA match against him, Manchester City and Tottenham, and then we'll do a little bit of a banter preview, just talking about Tottenham. And then we'll do a watch along together as well. But it's just, I hope we win. The bragging rights.
Yeah. Excellent. We got 3 channels there. This one, Tommy's, Daniel's. Make sure you hit the likes, hit the subscribes, watch old videos, hit likes on them, and yeah, follow them on Twitter. I'll put all the links on the Twitter thing and on the description of the video. Make sure you hit all of them, like all of them, and I'll be back on Friday with the preview to the Man City game. Hopefully with Eugene, hopefully he's still there, and then we'll be back on Monday as well.
Thank you so much for watching, for everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments. Before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @LTalkTottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!